talk about another Avenger caliber talent. That is the #1 cornerback in the entire country and for the 2021 class. His name is Tony Grimes. He is 6 feet. He's $180. He's coming out of Princess Anne in Virginia Beach, Virginia, off in Tidewater, where they just growing these kids up, man. Him, Bubba Chuck, Dre Bly. Speaking of Dre Bly, cornerbacks coach at North Carolina. And the dude that we were talking about a couple days ago, part of an outstanding 97 squad for Mack Brown. And Mack Brown is once again building a monster. He lands Tony Grimes, and we have 100% of all crystal balls going to North Carolina. He adds some real validity to his 4th ranked Carolina recruiting class. That's right, #4 ranked North Carolina recruiting class in football, flipping Drake May from Alabama to UNC. And he would be the first 5-star in that class. The 7th ranked player in the country, according to the 247 Sports composite. And that's after being 96th ranked, according to the top 247. So if he were to move up 30 spots to say 66 in the top 247 the next time the rankings come out, we're talking about perhaps the #1 player in the 247 Sports composite, overtaking Corey Foreman, who has that spot today. Brian Doan, Steve Wiltfong already have it in saying, look, it feels like North Carolina is going to get a surprise present on June 30th. This is just a few days after Grimes announced that he was moving up his commitment date from December 1 to June 30th. This is a kiddo that said in May that he was going to commit on December 1 after dropping a top 5 that included, among others, Ohio State. This is also a kid that Ohio State really, really wanted in the same way that they really, really wanted J.C. Latham. It's not a kid that Oklahoma has been in on for reasons that have everything to do with defense and everything to do with pedigree. Georgia felt like they had a really great opportunity with Charlton Warren leading the way. And A&M thought that they could come on strong with TJ Rushing leading the way. And then Carl Scott and Charles Huff thought that Alabama might be a player here. But when you look at the roster at Georgia, there are 14 cornerbacks on it. Okay? 14. 0 commits in this class for a cornerback, but 14 on the roster. North Carolina, though, has been able to overcome that with 12 cornerbacks on the roster and 2 already committed to the class, which tells you just how good Dre Bly has been at this. Grimes told 247, UNC has a great staff. Coach Mack Brown is the only coach right now in the Hall of Fame. He knows how to win. Cornerbacks coach Dre Bly played at a high level in college and the NFL, and he trained Stephon Gilmore on a regular basis. Stephon Gilmore, Defensive Player of the Year, best cornerback in the NFL coming off of last year. They have a top 10 business school, and I expect to major in business. My connection with Coach Dre Bly has grown and built since he got there. Dre is that dude that was actually putting the shackles on everybody else in the ACC. And this is back when Florida State was actually, good. Like real good. Like Bobby Bowden's good. And the ACC having a North Carolina up here where they could be a football and basketball school is no small feat. Again, looking at this class, I'm utterly amazed at how Mack Brown has been able to turn this thing into something like competing with Clemson, who is ranked right there at #2 in the 247 Sports Team Composite rankings, into something that is going to be worthwhile. I mean, I've been looking for a worthy challenger like you for Clemson and its ACC dominance, because we are very much tired of looking at the ACC and looking at Clemson and going, okay, cool, you guys are going to walk through this conference once again into the college football playoff. And while, yes, the ACC is watered down and it is probably the 4th best Power 5 conference, Clemson still emerges, and Clemson still gives everybody, at the very least, a run for their money, if not winning national championships. Again, beat a really great Ohio State team. Okay? Then got sunned by an LSU team that was sunning everybody. Then, previous year, gave Nick Saban the worst loss of his career at Alabama. And yet, when we look at the recruiting rankings, see Ohio State, who is just there, right? Clemson at 2, Tennessee at 3, but Tennessee's got 23 commitments, and then North Carolina at 4 ahead of USC and Florida. Particularly interesting with USC because USC is a blue blood, and USC has been able to recruit with using the letters. If they show even any signs of positivity, you're going to feel good about their recruiting class, and they are right now the trendy destination for the #1 player in the class. That is Corey Foreman, after he reopened his recruitment after having been committed to Clemson so that he could take a visit to, among other places, USC. And add to that, USC could bring with him Mason Smith. The two have already said out loud, we want to play together. We want to be on the same team. Right now, LSU, Georgia, and SC are all places where that could happen. Clemson is not one of those. Clemson has not extended an offer to Mason Smith. And that was, I think, a big factor into one of the reasons as to why Corey Foreman wanted to reopen his recruitment. This is also really astonishing because LSU and Texas, Oregon have been really recruiting well. With Troy Franklin getting ranked higher in the top 247 and becoming a 5-star, that makes Oregon the possessor of a 5-star talent. Michigan has one as well. LSU's going to get one, I think. We'll have to wait and see. But right now, with 12 commits, 10 of them are 4-stars. And then Texas has 8 5-star and 8 4-stars among their 13 commits. And they're sitting pretty at number 10 in the rankings. So again, with 11 4-stars, North Carolina is somehow emerging. I look at recruiting and I look at youth and I look at how this thing goes. Been reading a lot about Darrell Royal, Barry Switzer, Fred Akers, Mac Brown, Bob Stoops, and Nick Saban for that matter. And the denominator here is recruiting, okay? When you are willing to do everything it takes to win a commitment, you usually win that commitment. It's when you get tired and you get older and you no longer want to deal with every single kid's stuff that you ease up and you don't go as hard. Darrell Royal ran into this, of all people, with Eric Dickerson. Darrell Royal went to go recruit Eric Dickerson at his house. Came to his house, kid wasn't there, it's not unusual, so he started talking to Eric Dickerson's grandmother. Dickerson walked in the door, saw Darrell Royal sitting there and said, "Yeah, my seat." And Darrell Royal had had enough. He said, "It's yours." And he got up and he walked out. He was through dealing. Meanwhile, we got Barry Switzer sending out private planes to go pick up Earl Campbell from Tyler, Texas. And then calling up the next day talking about, can I come down there? While the guy that had been leading his recruitment, Ken Dabbs, is sitting in his mama's living room. And Dabbs thought he was going to lose Earl Campbell to Oklahoma. And he was mortified when Earl picked up the phone and told his mama Ann that Barry Switzer wants to know if he can come over to the house tomorrow while Dabbs sitting there. Ann Campbell saved Ken Dabbs' life when he said, "Tell Barry Switzer, you are going to the University of Texas. You know this." He hadn't made a decision, but mama made that decision. As I say, parents are undefeated in recruiting. Even when you think they aren't, they are, because you are always going to be their child, which tells me a lot about how Mac Brown has been doing business. Let me get to the parents. Let me convince them that I am a worthy steward of their child. Football, yes, of course. But ma'am, the education he's going to get. The alumni network I can hook him up with. Nick Saban got prank phone called by a radio station purporting to be a kicker while he was on vacation. And he took that call super seriously. That's why he's good at this. Because he's still willing to take calls on vacation. Darrell Royal also had a saying, like, I don't care if you're vacationing in Greece. You're thinking about some sophomore that you're not talking to right now. And that wears on you. And that really, really gets to you after a while. It got to Bob Stoops. You don't want to do this after a while. Looking at these kids going, why am I letting these kids raise my blood pressure? I need to get up out of here. And when it comes from Nick Saban and it comes from Mac Brown, that'll be that. It came from Mac Brown one time. It came from him one time. It didn't go well. He needed to go do the thing at the studio with ESPN so he could leave Pitt late so he could catch this Uber. Decided that he's had enough time off. And if he was going to do this again, his wife said, we're going to do it again. UNC is the only place I want to do it. Job came open. He took it. And all of a sudden, Sam Howell puts together the best freshman season we had seen by a rookie this side of Trevor Lawrence. And now we're talking about North Carolina as a recruiting power that has an opportunity to land a top 10 commit and the #1 player in the class. Not too shabby.